Hi there. Well, it looks like high pressure is finally getting to within reaching distance. We just have to get through the rest of this week and the weekend of perhaps some quite unsettled weather before we get there, but it does look like things will turn more settled from the middle of next week onwards. Before we look ahead at the forecast, let's just take a quick look back at the amount of sunshine we've seen through October across East Anglia so far. So this black dotted line here shows the month so far, and you can see how it compares with the sunniest month, this red line, and the dullest month, which is this blue line. And you can see it's incredibly close to this blue line, the dullest October on record for East Anglia. So it looks like we are going to come in definitely in the top 5 Octobers across East Anglia with the least amount of sunshine. So there have been a few sunny days, but obviously for many it's been cloudy for much of the time. So perhaps quite depressing month at times, but it does look like things will increase in sunshine, hopefully, if we do get that high pressure building in. But let's take a look at the jet stream over the next few days. Just running this through for the rest of this week and into the weekend, you can see we've got quite an active jet stream pushing various areas of low pressure through from the west. It will also draw some quite mild air up at times. Some of these areas of low pressure will have some quite mild air, but you can see it does stay fairly unsettled right the way through into the weekend and perhaps into the early parts of next week as well. So taking a bit of a closer, more detailed look at that. This is the rain that we saw come through from the west on Tuesday. By the end of the day today, that should be out to the east, and then for Wednesday, well, Tuesday night and Wednesday, we'll be left in this blustery southwesterly flow with this area of low pressure out to the northwest. So that's going to bring frequent showers down western hills and along the south coast and perhaps into parts of Kent as well. There could be quite a few hefty showers there. But further east across eastern England and northeastern England should be largely dry, plenty of sunshine, so that might just top up those sunshine hours and there may just be an odd isolated shower as well, but really the focus of the heavier showers further west. Now, looking ahead to Thursday, you can see this area of low pressure out to the west on Wednesday night. That's going to push through, bringing some rain eastwards across the country, followed by further rain in the north and west, which then by Friday becomes sort of straddled across these central areas, across parts of Wales and southwest England. So it could be quite a wet couple of days. I think most areas looking like they will see some rain of some descript over Thursday and Friday, and we will see some quite mild temperatures come in from the south. So while Wednesday night into Thursday could be quite chilly in the east under those clear skies, Thursday night into Friday we'll see temperatures pretty much across the board, apart from perhaps the Highlands of Scotland, into the double figures. So a much milder feeling night for Thursday night into Friday. Like I say, by Friday we'll see this rain straddled across these central areas, but I think moving that forward, it will push eastwards across Saturday across the country before then this next much deeper area of low pressure out to the west, ready to bring further rain and strong winds to the British Isles. So quite an unsettled period of weather really over the next few days with various areas of low pressure bringing rain and strong winds, and like I say, some quite mild temperatures across the south. On a couple of days we could see highs of maybe up to 18 degrees in places over the weekend and perhaps into the early part of next week. Further north and west, those warmer temperatures will drop off quite quickly. It's really in the far southeast where they'll hang on through until the weekend, but like I say, there could be some quite mild temperatures and overnight temperatures as well. So with all the uncertainty around this weekend with these various areas of low pressure, the best way of staying on top of the forecast is to speak to our forecasters directly. So they're available every day from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. on 09065 777675. Calls charged at £1.55 per minute plus any network access charges. And they'll be able to talk you through any uncertainty in the forecast, different timings, the likelihood of amounts of rain and the probability of getting the rain. So well worth a ring if you want to find out a specific forecast and specific levels of uncertainty for your location. Looking ahead into the middle part of next week, once those areas of low pressure have cleared Monday, Tuesday, it looks like this area of high pressure out to the southwest will begin to build, ridging across the UK. By late next week, that'll be more centred further east, but it still will dominate the weather for the UK. So bringing largely dry conditions, plenty of sunshine from the middle of next week onwards, and finally something that looks a bit more settled and hopefully a slightly more prolonged, drier spell. Now looking at temperatures, like I mentioned, we are going to see some quite mild temperatures over the next few days. You can see that chilly night that I mentioned on Wednesday night into Thursday in the east, but after that really these temperatures pick up. We could be looking at highs of 17 or 18 degrees in places, as a lot of these areas of low pressure have some quite mild ex-tropical air tucked up in them. So quite mild over the weekend and into the early part of next week, but it does then drop off once we see that high pressure build. I think we are going to see some cooler air, perhaps the chance of a few cooler nights in places down into the low single figures, but definitely turning cooler once that high pressure builds in. As I mentioned as well, in the north and west, these warmer temperatures will likely drop off a little bit sooner. We'll maybe just see a couple of days of those milder temperatures there, but hanging on a bit longer in the southeast. In terms of the pressure, this is an ensemble here showing various different model runs and how they're handling all these areas of low pressure. And you can see the uncertainty that I mentioned over the weekend, a much larger spread in those grey lines indicating the uncertainty. Still a good signal of seeing some low pressure of some form, but just a question mark of how deep that low pressure will be and how much rain will be on it. So the uncertainty for the weekend is quite obvious there, but you can see after that, although there's still a bit of spread, they perhaps come a bit closer together as we do see that high pressure build and really into the middle part of next week and then perhaps beyond out into the week beyond. There's a bit of a decrease in the pressure, but we do generally see high pressure continuing to have that influence over us. So definitely turning more unsettled from Wednesday onwards with a certain degree of confidence. Like I say, there is some spread, but all of those model runs are indicating higher pressure of some descript. And you can see that here visually in the map for Europe. This is next week. These red colours here showing above average pressure at sea level here. And it's really indicating how that pressure builds in from the west and begins to spread eastwards across Europe, pretty much affecting most areas. It looks like there will be a good settled feel to the weather. You can see these blue colours here, perhaps pushing some rain around the northern edge of that high into parts of Scandinavia. So in terms of the rainfall, many areas in these brown colours, which indicates below average rainfall, so a much drier period than it has been. As I mentioned, parts of Norway and northern Scandinavia could see that rainfall still tending to be above average as they get quite a few fronts come through, but elsewhere a much more settled looking picture with plenty of those drier colours around. In terms of temperatures, we will see that cooler air come into parts of northwestern Europe, the UK and France, perhaps the Low Countries as well, places like that. But elsewhere, really, there's these red signal here showing the above average temperatures. As we get some milder air come through, particularly across Scandinavia, the temperatures above average, but some quite milder air across southern Europe as well. Now into the following week, really a similar sort of picture in terms of the pressure. Still got high pressure building in from the west, perhaps retreating slightly from the previous week, a little bit less of a signal, but still a fairly dominant looking picture across much of Europe. And in terms of how that's reflected in the rainfall, still parts of the UK, France, Iberia, Spain, parts of Germany as well, seeing those brown colours there, below average rainfall, a much more settled looking look to the weather during that period. Parts of Scandinavia could still see that rain push through, so perhaps above average in some areas there. And there is all this signal for parts of southeastern Europe to see something slightly more unsettled. It looks like there could be some heavy showers, perhaps some spells of rain there during that period. So some places could end up being above average there, but other than that, a generally settled look to the weather still. Now in terms of temperatures, although we're going to see that high pressure building in, we're still going to see some quite cool air across much of western and southern Europe. These blue colours here showing below average temperatures. So although it will be dry, plenty of sunshine, largely dry, plenty of sunshine, there will be that chilly air affecting those places as well. But still further west, you can see across Scandinavia, western Russia, temperatures generally looking above average. Now into the final week of the forecast, looking ahead towards the end of November, you can see a bit of a shift in the pattern here. These blue colours showing perhaps a more unsettled looking, low pressure dominated feel to the week. So I think we will see things turn more unsettled again towards the end of November. You can see more in the way of green colours spread across this map now. That's indicating slightly above average rainfall as low pressure allows areas of rain to come through. So forecast going perhaps a little bit downhill into late November, but parts of southern Europe around the Mediterranean could see the best of the drier weather with perhaps still some high pressure ridging around there. In terms of temperatures, still the best of the above average temperatures are across Scandinavia and eastern parts of Europe and western Russia. Not a strong signal elsewhere, but perhaps something just that bit closer to average. So to summarise, we will see things turn more unsettled from the middle of next week onwards as high pressure begins to build. We do have to get through the rest of this week and the weekend though, where there will be potentially quite a lot of rain around with some strong winds and some milder weather this week, after which it will turn cooler again. And after a more settled spell, it looks like things might just go downhill towards the end of November with something perhaps more unsettled again beginning to have an influence on our weather. So thanks for watching this week's video. As ever, you can keep up to date with the day-to-day forecast on our social media. And if you'd like to leave a comment, please do so below. Thanks for watching.